I'm author Mark Muncy.
And I'm author Erika Lance.
And this is Eerie Travels. Greetings, travelers.
Greetings, travelers. Oh, wait.
I was missing there was supposed to be someone else before you, Val.
Oh, shit.
Where's Erika?
Here she comes. Where were you?
I was putting the pennies out on the porch, all 13 of them in a row. We're good.
What? You were prepared. You know this story then.
Yeah. I do know this story, and since you're both about to talk about it, I think it's best that I make this place safe.
Okay. So, if we're putting out 13 pennies, those in the know immediately what we're going to be talking about. But we're bringing on a special guest for this episode.
Yes. We are.
Once again, we invite the incomparable Val Willis to join us.
Thanks for having me again. I love talking about the Rougarou, so I'm excited to kind of introduce the Rougarou to the travelers.
Yes, but first, we have breaking news. So apparently there is a huge granite mass discovered under the surface of the far side of the moon. So why this is important is, in case you were afraid that you might eventually run out of granite countertops here on Earth, we have solved that problem on an intergalactic level.
Well, it was what I thought was interesting about this article was the fact that the area this is now, we just did recently our tribute to Tanya Derenberger and Indrid Cold.
Correct.
And in that area on the far side of the moon where Indrid Cold had his first trip to Lanulus, he claimed that there was when he was visiting the mothership, that there was some sort of parking garage on the other side of the moon for his for spaceships. And that's where, they parked before he transferred to the mothership to head to Lanulus. So finding a large chunk of granite there, suddenly, I'm like, wait a minute.
I just want to clarify. Do you think they have a granite parking garage?
If you're building a spaceship base on the other side of the moon, granite's a good way to go. It's a lot easier than cement.
Okay, you know this because you've built many spaceship landing garages?
No, but the fact that we didn't know granite even existed offside of Earth, because it's very specific type of way the rocks have to form to make granite. I think it's fascinating that the moon had that and we didn't even know.
Okay, so this goes back to I'm sorry.
So something may have brought it there.
Yes, or like it's a planet and planets can make things, and there are other planets unlike ours in the solar system. I'm just pointing out that if this is a gigantic garage, I hope it has those little lights that indicate when a parking space is occupied so that you can fly your little spaceship in and you know where to park it.
Yeah, so, you don't have to look for there's a little tiny car now and I didn't see it because it was behind the big space Lexus.
Exactly. Yeah, oh, look, it's a little Martian speeder there. Darn it. So I hope that if it's a granite garage and all of that, like you want it to be, that it absolutely has those little lights. Because if it doesn't, I'm calling alien bullshit.
And now people are going to be getting their granite countertops remade, and they're going to be like, nope, must be lunar granite.
Lunar granite.
That's the only thing I will accept.
Is granite. Okay, so that was the breaking news. We'll post the story, of course, in the notes, and you guys can read the entire thing. It doesn't have Mark's entire theory about the Indrid Cold and it being a parking garage, but use your imagination. We love that. Okay, so Valerie. Yes, the Rougarou. So let us start with what in the actual 9 levels of Granite Depot is a Rougarou.
Okay, so the best way to describe it, let's take you back to a conversation I had with a friend. She grew up in New Orleans, Louisiana. Her family is part of one of the founding families, right? So she's deep rooted.
So she's French?
Yeah, she is Cajun.
Okay, the other founding families.
The
owned it.
No.
Okay.
So
Little history there.
she once messaged me. We're at work, right? In cubicles. CU cubicles. We're on opposite ends. She messages me and she goes, Val, do you know what the Rougarou is? And I replied, yeah, you mean the swamp werewolf? She lost it. I could hear her cackling. She goes, no, it's not. I said, yes, it is. I said, it's a shapeshifter. It turns into, and depending which stories, it can turn into a werewolf. That's the most common. But it can also change into like a wereboar or a weregator. There's a variance of that. There's even stories that it can be a ghost or a normal animal or all white animal. So there's a lot of mixture in a small area about this. But the common thing that takes us back to the counting of pennies is that Rougarous usually can be identified because they have 12 fingers. And if you place the pennies on your porch, and many porches have pennies implanted into the cement of porches there, he can't count to 13, so 13 pennies will keep him from coming in. But it used to be rumored at one point that he'd come in to eat your unbaptized children and things like that.
Well, that just got very religious. Mark?
All right, so that the 13 I heard, the reason
Yeah.
they can't count to 13, not that they have 12 fingers or toes, was that because they only worry about midnight, because they change back. They have to eat before midnight, basically like a gremlin, or they have to do all their Rougarouing before midnight. So they only worry about the 12-hour day, and that's why they can't count past 13. That was one version I had heard. So.
Wow.
I am going to make up a version that has literally nothing to do with the folklore about this particular creature, which is that Abraham Lincoln is on the penny and they don't like top hats. And Abraham Lincoln wore a top hat. And by the time they see 13 of him, it is way too much for them to handle.
Too many top hats.
Too many top hats, even though there's no top hat on the penny.
Of a Lincoln top hat.
And so therefore they have no interest in doing that.
Wow, I was gonna say, I thought you were gonna go Abraham Lincoln vampire hunter, but that he was a werewolf hunter, but
this is a Rougarou. This isn't a werewolf.
right, exactly.
I mean,
After the famous 1863 Lincoln lycanthrope incident that has been declassified by it hasn't.
Okay.
I was like, oh, what did I miss?
You're making up things even way beyond
That
what I was
wasn't
making
actually,
it up.
I didn't make that up. That's actually from the Bureau 13 archives thing.
Okay, yeah.
I get to bring it in.
You brought up
I got it in there. Yes, I did.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so but in all seriousness when we're talking about Rougarous, but this is a creature that is well known, but mainly around the Louisiana, because that's how you say it, Louisiana or Louisiana. It just depends. I'm saying it Louisiana, so all my Cajun friends.
It goes back to medieval.
Yeah,
medieval France.
Rougarou.
Yeah, which you did some writing about that.
Yes. Oh man. So I mean,
you have to start at the beginning.
Oh, where do I start?
The plague would be the best place to start, I think, because
yeah.
Honestly, it was a plague beast. I'll start a little bit then, because it was 16th century, and basically they would blame every crime on a Rougarou. Your cattle died, loup-garou, which is French for werewolf, and that even comes from lycanthrope, the ancient Greek, which was the first werewolves and all that. But we discussed werewolves in another episode. But the loup-garou, your child disappears, loup-garou. If instead of wandering off and things like that. So that was it was pretty much werewolves did it, case closed. And that was pretty much just the common thing in the day. So. And villagers would even try people and accuse them of werewolfism.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things about the plague, was it was werewolves that were doing it. So.
Okay, but there's a fun part of the plague. I need to go to the fun part. I'm going to do a Muncy tangent.
Oh, what?
Hashtag Muncy tangent here, because I learned something very fascinating from you.
Oh, yes.
Which is rare because normally you bore the shit out of me, but I learned something. Just kidding. I'm totally kidding, travelers. I love hanging out with Mark. I apologize. But I learned something really fascinating about the plague, because there's something a lot of people don't realize about the plague, right? And it was caused by aliens. No, just kidding. Just kidding. I just wanted to see the look on your face.
I was ready. I'm like, wait, I don't remember that part. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, you always like stunning me. That was pretty cool, the look on your face. No, but it was actually caused by a really dumb thing that people don't realize, which has to do with why black cats are considered evil.
Yes.
So join us, travelers. We're all going to band together and go on a little Muncy tangent here. So there was a particular pope, and you're going to say the name of the pope, right? But what happened is this particular pope decided that black cats, it was Pope, what is it?
Pope Gregory the Ninth, which, initiated the feline holocaust.
The feline holocaust, because he decided that black cats were demons, devils.
They were the propagators of witchcraft. They were all black cat familiars, and this was in 1233.
So he goes, that's it. Black cats, they all need to be killed because they're all the propagators. Thank you, Carrie. Perpetrators. It's a good thing Carrie Muncy's around here to keep us straight, because we have no idea what's happening.
Black cats were instruments of Satan, and
they were. So we had to destroy all of the cats, even remotely.
Yeah, anything remotely black cat got killed
because they were bad.
And to be fair, there was a lore going around for over 100 years before that, and it's called Varus. Was a belief that you could sell or trade your soul for a black cat, black chicken, a black animal that would travel at night and terrorize your neighbors to steal gold and bring it back to you to bring you fortune.
I want to train a chicken to go bring me back gold.
And that's exactly what they did. So we've gotten completely off record here on this Rougarou episode.
Muncy tangent, but I'm getting to the point of why I'm saying this, because of the plague and the Rougarou. So I'm just going to get there, and then we can go back to the Rougarou, werewolf, lycanthrope, whatever. Is that they killed all the cats. Then what happened is the rat population and mice population surged with the fleas that were bringing and carrying the Black Plague. And because they weren't killed, they multiplied, ergo bringing the Black Plague, which then was one of the biggest plagues per capita to kill an absolute crap ton of people.
I think 2/3 of the population of Europe was wiped out by the Black Death.
Yep. So just for the record, if anybody's paying attention, the moral of this story is be a werewolf.
And like black cats. So yeah. So
okay, continue on your Rougarou-ness.
Wow. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Erika.
Thanks.
That's okay. Thanks. You guys are going to tangent anyway, so I thought I'd get it out of the way.
Yeah. So but anyway, the Loup group, probably the most famous we've mentioned was the Beast of Gévaudan. Which the Gévaudan region, it attacked many people. It had lots of witnesses. The king orders a hunt of it. Yep. Finally, they kill a wolf and say, "Oh, we got it.
We got it." And then it starts killing more people.
No, ignore that. Ignore the man behind the curtain. Ignore the murders over there. They have nothing to do.
You know
with
what's interesting? It was described with a long jaw, a tail like a cat, and stripes on its back hind quarters. I think it was a Tasmanian tiger. Like looking at the description, I don't know.
All right, but anyway, if you want to learn more about that, watch the amazing movie that is finally now streaming on iTunes, and that is Brotherhood of the Wolf, which is martial arts period action monster bodice ripping romance. It has everything thrown in. You just cannot enjoy. You cannot not enjoy this movie. So there was my triple negative there.
Okay.
So yeah, but anyway, another tangent.
To a movie. Let's talk about the Rougarou.
All right, so
let's talk about
now
in this country the Rougarou
that travels to Canada.
Yeah.
The legends of this travel to Canada because it's French Canadians, and they are mostly Protestant and Catholic, that are fleeing various things in France. They come to Canada. and they're in the Acadian province up there. And then there is a great purge of the Catholics because the Protestants of that area are taking over. And so they all flee as far south as they can go, and they wind up in Louisiana. And they form an area called Acadia. Imagine that.
Yeah. And that's where we started hearing basically the Rougarou was to blame. But it was also interesting because the Homa tribe in that area also had a similar creature, Rougarou, and they started blending together.
Yeah, because
did you just say Rougarou?
Rougarou. Yeah. It's like saying Rougarou with peanut butter, as Carrie just said. Yes, it's they are this wild creature that the natives were afraid of. It was very wampus cat, where it could change its shape from gator to lady to boar. Now they didn't have the wolf part.
No, they didn't have
they
the
had
wolf part.
They had the other animals, and then the French.
So the three options, if I'm going to be, I just want to, so when I'm choosing what cryptid I want to be, I just want to make sure I understand. So the
like your cheer,
and then
Scooby-Doo.
And
yes. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
My apologies to the sound guy on this one.
So just went full Finding Nemo. So I can change into be a lady. That will be a first. A gator or a boar. Those are my three
options.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. And
they thought it had been brought by the Spanish who had come through.
The Spanish often bring gator boar hybrids.
Yeah, they thought that was why, because this creature was not an ancient legend of the natives. This was a recent legend of the natives. 1500s, 1600s.
And it evolved over the generations. More recent generations say that it's a protector of the woods now, and protectors of the Indian mounds and things like that. Like there are stories, I know my friend from there said, growing up, they told you if you found any arrowheads or anything, like I know here in Florida, if we find them, most people pick them up. There, no one touches it. The superstition's so strong that the Rougarou will come reclaim it from you. They just don't mess with it. Or on All Saints Day, you shouldn't be hunting, or the Rougarou will come get you. It's very tied into the everyday aspects of life, and it's incredible.
And what's funny is it was the Loup-garou and the Rougarou, suddenly becomes this Rougarou. It's this meld, and that's the best we can think. We're not 100% certain on this. It just happens to be a few things that all coalesce at that same time.
At this time, I'm going to butt into the conversation and say, and by the way, I made that noise. That wasn't a technical difficulty. That listeners, if you have any stories about the stuff that has been brought up so far, please feel free to share them with us, since people are just making up sounds on this show right now. And with that, we will be right back after this break.
Eerie, Appalachia. Gear up for a frightful jaunt into the darkest reaches of the ancient Appalachians. Folks deep within the Appalachian hollers lean close to the campfire to share stories of the inexplicable with hushed awe. Monsters rumbling in the hills, strange lights darting through the pitch black night sky, horrible occurrences almost ineffable in their bizarre tragedy. Tall tales, you might say. Tell that to the Flatwoods monster in Braxton County, West Virginia, or the Goat Man of Louisville. Look into his humanoid eyes and let him know you don't believe. And what of those apparitions in Mammoth Cave's Corpse Rock, or the Satan spawn known as the Jersey Devil? How do you respond when confronted by these mysteries? From the metaphysical energy that swirls near Serpent Mound in Ohio to Point Pleasant's Mothman legacy, Mark Muncy and Carrie Schultz explore the dark history lurking in the shadows of Appalachia. Read by Mark Muncy, author and experts on strange folklore with appearances on shows such as Ancient Aliens, The Curse of Robert the Doll, and many, many more.
Greetings, mortals and others. I'm Dick Terhune, the voice from hell. I work with haunted attractions all over the U.S., Canada, and Europe to increase audiences and enhance their experience with highly effective commercials, narrations, animatronic character voices, whatever your dark heart desires. Let me help you do more, scare more, profit more. Find out more at Voice from Hell on Facebook and at voicefromhell.com. rougarou.com.
We're back, I think.
I would like to be in Louisiana now because you told me this was going to involve Nolans,
and that's where we're at now.
Okay,
so.
because
yes, we're in New Orleans.
I feel like we didn't even come close to there.
This was all the pre-set up for this.
Like where did it come from? Well, it traveled. And traveling legends are always the best because they kind of migrate with their people and show the back.
And one of the areas that this creature is seen is near New Orleans and the swamps around New Orleans, which is the area called Acadiana. Now, I found out recently that is a fun thing because we were talking about they're from Acadia. They come down.
Listeners, prepare for another Marquee tangent.
This isn't much of a tangent. They're from Acadia.
It says that now.
They come to Louisiana, and it's Acadia again. But in the 1950s, a radio station accidentally makes a typo. And instead of Acadia, they call it Acadiana because they combine Acadia, Louisiana, and becomes Acadiana. And so because they combine that, that's what it's become now. It's stuck. So now when you talk to people from that area, the Cajuns and all the people from that, the Creoles, they talk about we're from Acadiana. And it's like, I love that that's a recent thing. They think it's been that way for forever, and it was a recent typo. So anyway, continuing back. Sorry.
We are still not in Nolans.
We are New
Orleans.
So here's a cool aspect of the Rougarou, that it's not like a normal wear shifter or curse. This curse can last for 1 year and 1 day. And
101
days, depending on the variant you're talking about.
So depending on which one bites you, it can either last 101 days or 157 days.
That's another thing. You don't always get those from being bit.
No. And
is this one of your sex books, Val?
No.
Okay.
Oh, kinda.
What?
You can get it by not following the rules of Lent.
Yes.
Which is a Catholic ceremony, which is you deny yourself a certain foods, certain things. In modern Catholicism, it is more you deny yourself a certain pleasure that you normally take for 101 days.
I just want to point out we're recording outside here in the wonderful hills, Blue Ridge Mountains, and I think there's a storm coming. So travelers, if you hear that in the background, it's not the planets going against Mark for not taking me to Nolans yet, because we're still not quite there. We are there now. In case you hear it, it's the weather. Okay, so how can you become a Rougarou?
You didn't follow Lent was one way. You weren't baptized was another one. Someone cursed you. So there's where that Santeurian, voodooing, and root work.
What about the Indian tribe? Because I'm sure they weren't like, well, you didn't follow Lent.
The Rougarou of that one was.
Sorry, which one?
The Rougarou. Theirs.
I didn't hear you, Mark. What was
the Rougarou? Thank you. They believed that it was like a Wampus cat. It was a woman who saw a ceremony she wasn't supposed to see. Got cursed and became this creature that could transform
into a gator and a boar.
Yes.
Okay. So
because a meddling woman got in the way of a male tribal ceremony.
And it's interesting because there's also variants saying that a rival tribe or a former tribe in the area turned themselves into monsters as a last minute resort.
What I don't appear to like about this particular situation is that
there's a lot of lists.
There's no easy way to avoid it.
No.
Okay.
It is. Well, if you're following the rules, you're fine.
This is a lot of different rules, and you got to avoid being cursed. There's a lot of travelers. Just pay attention. There's a lot of things happening. This could definitely happen to you.
Don't worry, Erika.
Don't shortchange the waitress at the restaurant or the bar, and you're fine. That's.
But you can, if you do acquire the curse, you can dump it onto someone.
You can, so you can be an asshole and give it to somebody else.
Yes,
It Follows it. You can do the movie It Follows, and you can give it to someone almost like an STD.
Yeah.
That's one way of traveling.
Almost STD.
You have sexual intercourse with someone and you will pass the curse on to them.
That is called an STD.
Exactly.
It is
Only a STC, sexually transmitted curse.
I swear to God, if the CDC comes out with that as a thing, Mark, I hope they put your
and is it oh God, I can't remember. I'm going blank, but
is that because you just got an STC?
No, the Rougarou tries to get you to draw blood on them.
Yeah, drawing blood is the other thing. And that's again,
Yeah.
we go back to our Blair Witch / Hog Island Witch stuff, where it was drawing blood was a very early practice of medicine, and healers of the area, especially voodoo Santeria healers, would draw blood to remove the evil humors from the body, which goes back to medieval France again, back to bloodletting and leeches and all that. But that's against Catholicism, that's against the church. So obviously they're giving you the Rougarou curse.
Yeah. The Rougarou. Okay, so wow, we just went through.
I will say the cool thing about the more recent variants, where it's 360, it's like a year and 1 day.
The cool thing about getting this STC, the cool thing is there a plus?
We need an Eerie Traveler shirt that says "I caught an STC." Anyhow,
I don't think you want that on a shirt. Why would you advertise? Valerie, what are where are you even going with this?
I'm done. I'm out. I'm tapping out. Thank you, gang. We'll see you on the other side. No, I'm out. No.
Mark. Okay. Why am I the one putting this back on the rails? Okay. You
it's the same time.
It's the same time frame as
when they clear out the catacombs, the monuments to put the next dead body in, which was really weird.
Monuments?
The
mausoleums.
Thank you.
Okay.
So that's you would be interred for 1 year and 1 day, and then you'll be moved into a smaller box because there's not much left of you, especially in New Orleans in the summer. It's not like these mausoleums are airtight, and you would get moved into a smaller box unless you're Marie Laveau. So where you stay in your big crypt forever, or Nick Cage's new pyramid that he's got built there. So
okay,
if you want to go see some fun, go see that.
I feel like this, I don't even know what happened with this episode, but I don't even feel like we're close. So is the Rougarou a current thing? Do people still see Rougarous?
Yes.
And what does a Rougarou supposed to look like?
A humanoid wolf man.
Yeah, it's less, where the dog man and the upright canids that we get a lot of reports of. This is less hairy and more just a dog head. And more like a naked guy with a dog head, which goes back to Anubis and goes back to prehistoric, and the early lycanthrope descriptions of Greece.
So let me get this straight. Okay.
We broke Erika.
No, you didn't break me. I think you're both drunk, and this episode shouldn't have happened. But here's what I understand at this point. This creature originated way back in France, came over to Canada. There were Indian tribes that also had a similar creature, but not really, because their creature was a gator boar hybrid.
Yeah.
Then it moved down to Louisiana because the French owned Louisiana until we bought it for like $5.
Went to the Spanish, then back to France, and then back to us. Yeah.
Okay.
Technicalities, Mark.
That's not where I'm going
Louisiana
with this.
Purchase.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we can all do that history lesson, which I won't be on because that's boring right now. And then, so now this thing that was a werewolf lycanthrope is not really that. It is a man with a wolf head.
Yeah, who was cursed and has to.
What do they
blood.
eat?
They drink blood.
But
or steal children.
What do they do with the children?
No one knows. They just don't come back. So we assume they eat them. But
okay. Well, how do you know they don't have like Peter Pan and they have some cool island somewhere where they're all living and like Lost Boys?
You know it's a thing when even the newspaper in Houma, Louisiana, still talks about it and brings up articles of what most recent people have said they've seen.
To be fair, they have a Rougarou festival every year.
That's
so it's
true
kind of
yeah. But you know what's cool about it is there's a lot more talk about it nowadays than in the past, because in the past, one of the other ways you could catch the curse or transfer the curse was if you spoke about seeing them. If you didn't wait a year and 1 day before speaking about it, you would become the Rougarou.
Okay, this is way too many rules for me to follow. So what will happen to me? What will happen is I will turn into a hairless, naked wolf woman that wants to drink blood and steal children to the island of Lost Boys.
Yep. Until you have sex with someone to pass it on to.
Or Valerie talks about the fact that I changed into it, or you do,
Yeah.
which neither one of you could stop yourself from doing. So I feel like I wouldn't have this curse very long.
I think it's interesting that the zoo, the Audubon Zoo in New Orleans, has a Rougarou exhibit.
That is awesome.
Yes.
Which is our travel.
Which is our travel for the visit. You know, you can go there. You can also go to the New Orleans Cemetery and see where they change out the mausoleums after a year and a day.
Or not. That doesn't sound like fun anyway.
Yeah. You can go nearby to where this creature is often confused with the Honey Island swamp monster, which is the Bigfoot of the swamp near there.
Because that Bigfoot looks like a naked man with a wolf head?
It doesn't. It looks like a Bigfoot. And that's why.
How is it confused then?
Well, that's some people just associate that this is a Bigfoot or a regular dog man in the area. Now, I have one thing I was not sure I was going to bring up on this, but this episode has gone so far off the rails. I have to bring this up. So,
I want to point out that is 1000% your and Valerie's fault.
Yes. No. All right, so I want to hear your reactions to this. Now,
I don't like this already.
After I wrote Eerie, Florida, I did a follow-up, Freaky, Florida, which involved Dogman and a hunter that had an encounter with Dogman up in the Florida Panhandle area. And so this gentleman sent me a series of letters that he was a hunter of various creatures and monsters, that he was like a hunter, not like a Bigfoot hunter or a ghost hunter trying to get evidence. He was wanting to kill one.
So I just need to ask, is his last name Winchester?
No, that I did not ever get a name.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
The email was just a Hotmail address that was like Hunter and a bunch of numbers at Hotmail. So now I never was able to get much out of this guy. I would send him emails back saying, hey, I'd love to know more about your story. And then they just kind of stopped after a little while. So I assumed he either got killed or, just stopped hunting. But the fun thing is
in a mental institution.
It's quite possible because there's no punctuation in any of his emails at all. So not that that's anything. It's just some people write like that, but and English may not have been his first language. But I'm going to read this to y'all. This is one of the many emails he sent me, and this is about his letter about the Rougarou. When we first discussed we were going to talk about this, I wanted to talk this, and I want to hear your reactions, gang, especially you two. Now that you are Rougarou experts.
I like that you said especially you two, as if anyone else but Carrie is here. So Carrie doesn't get to give an opinion, right? Well, is that what we're saying?
Well, Carrie already read this email, so it won't be an initial reaction. So
Carrie, should we even listen to this email? Okay, that wasn't a positive
there was an eye roll there, but all right, anyway. So here we go, travelers. So trigger warning, this is a listener email. So
we just talked about STCs.
I think we're good. So all right. So I hunt all over America and even in Africa a couple times. I've run across crap that has made me avoid entire states and run across other things that I tried to stalk and kill one of these things. I tried to kill, and one of these things I tried to kill is a loup-garou.
Okay.
I lived deep in Louisiana until I was 11. I know about these things, and you're going to need some backstory for this. I subscribe to the idea that they are cursed humans and will have the curse until they die like werewolves. And the loup-garou may even be a werewolf, because the only time I've ever found a claim of one that I could easily blow off the description was the same as where a wolf like a humanoid grizzly bear on two legs with lots of steroids that was a side. Wow. That's the start.
So, wait.
I'm sorry, I'm Joe reading this. There is no punctuation.
So the only time they could discount it, say that it wasn't a loup-garou, was when somebody said it was a werewolf, like a bear with steroids.
No, I think he's saying that was the one time he couldn't easily blow off the description. So yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
he's saying all the others were fake, but this one was real.
Because
So it looks like a bear with steroids.
Yeah. So I was doing some hunting one night for hog, and I saw a huge animal walk out, stood 6 or 7 feet tall on 2 legs, couldn't make out fine details due to the light, but I took a shot at it after I saw enough to realize it wasn't human. So at least he waited till he found out it wasn't human.
Well done with that.
I shot it in the head with a 45-70. Those of you who don't get that, that is a rifle capable of taking large game like an elephant with one shot, very strong round. And for those of you who are gun people, I'll give you some specs. It was a 500 grain soft lead bullet, hot loaded on 72 grains of powder. I spent the night tracking it. Mind you, this all happened at about 10. I only quit when I lost the blood trail and footprint trail right around daylight. I went home, and that night there was a story of a man whose body had been found with 2 large holes that resembled bullet holes, but it was ruled out because there was no trace of any lead or powder, and he was drained of all his blood, so they chalked that up to a satanic ritual. Now, to me, it sounds like I finally got and killed my loup-garou, but hey, maybe it's still out there and just really pissed off the hunter.
Okay. That hunter just admitted to killing somebody to you.
That's why I was like, wait a minute. Did you just say you killed a man?
What did he say?
Well, he never replied to the email. So I got the next email from him was another email about hunting and killing something else in another state. So I sent this email to the authorities and they said it's garbage. It's just, but they kept it on file. I was like, do you know of anybody? There's no details of where this happened, when it happened, what city or anything. And I couldn't find anything about a satanic murder with 2 holes, near Louisiana or, in the panhandle of Florida. So anyway, it's just one of those, that's the kind of emails I used to get. And I get fun listener emails now though. So thank you listeners for sending me the fun stuff. But I still get an occasional one like this.
Okay. So yeah, that's about all we're going to say for today, I think, on this point. I don't want to go anywhere else from this other than I can't.
I will say the most interesting thing about the Rougarou is that the deeper you dig around in that local area where it seems to be a hot spot for, you find out that there's a headless version of it. There's a version of an all-white animal who comes and does your chores for you sometimes.
Oh, where can I find that?
I know, right?
I'd hire that.
I'd hire that one. Yeah, exactly.
And then there's a whole stretch of highway in the one area where either a woman in white or a smiling man or hat man greets you or chases you down. So it's
and they call that a Rougarou.
Yeah, but they're dating. We know that. The hat man and the woman in white.
They're in Louisiana.
Yes, maybe that's where they live. Maybe you like that stretch is where their house is.
Oh, maybe.
And they're like, hey, welcome. Thanks for coming.
They hang out with the hitchhiking ghosts.
So. Okay, I think listeners, here's the thing. If you get a chance to go down to
Louisiana, the Acadiana region,
Homa,
which is the Rougarou Festival. The New Orleans Pelicans were originally the Hornets, and they tried to change their name, and they were actually trying to change it to the Rougarou, but they were denied that.
Well, that's a lot of a mouthful to say. And one of our good friends of the podcast, Small Town Monster.
Yes, they did. Yeah. Howl at the Rougarou, an amazing documentary. So if you want a bit more real history and a bit more real mythology, that is the way to go.
And my Cajun friend and I sat down. We made a date night, friend night kind of thing, and we watched Howl of the Rougarou by Small Town. And she was like, she kept having pauses. She's like, I got a story for this, and it was just so cool because she was like, yep, seen that. I know where they're at. And she so locals will appreciate that piece quite a bit.
Okay. So if you want to go get an STC and many other things, we suggest if at any time you're in Louisiana maybe having some fun, use protection, because you never know what you could be given
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
So-
yeah, and put 13 pennies out on your porch,
They're on my porch.
and you know, or just 13 shiny objects seems to work. So,
Yep.
and
Unless my theory about Abraham Lincoln is correct. So either way, go for it.
and if you don't have access to a 45-70,
We don't shoot at these things unless you're in danger.
yeah. But on that note, gang, beware the full moon.
Don't forget to send us your Rougarou
Stories, yes, please, and send us your listener tales and anything else you'd like to share with us at eerietrials.com. Valerie Willis, where can we find you?
You can find all my work at willisauthor.com. I like to use a lot of history and lores in my Cedric series. So,
And you have a wonderful werewolf book that's
yes. Oh, Book of Werewolves. So I am a typesetter by trade, and 1800s books are hard to research from. So I usually retypeset them into coffee table pieces. And the Book of Werewolves by Sabine Barengold, who used to write horror and paranormal in the 1800s. It's his notes about stories, legends, and mythology based off of wolf-like stuff.
has a great section on the Beast of Gévaudan. So,
Yes.
so thank you, gang, so much as the storm is rolling in at our secret mountain lair.
And I have nothing else, and I'm
Speechless.
yep.
All right, beware the full moon, and we'll see you on the other side.